Hey friends, it's Paul Ward and welcome to another On the Road. Well, if you're like me, you appreciate good music and maybe you wonder how good music is put together. Well, who better to talk to about that than our guests, the Kearns family at Goat Mountain Recording. Pat and Susan Kearns, welcome to On the Road.
Thank you.
Absolutely. And we want to thank our sponsor, Opus Escrow. So, Pat, how do you describe your job title?
I usually tell people I'm an audio engineer. I didn't go to school for any of that, but it seems to be the closest thing. I just do a lot of things with audio. I record, I do some mixing, I do a little bit of mastering, I do some restoration, audio restoration work and that kind of thing. It's, and I have a radio show, but everything that I do seems to revolve around audio.
And you've built this building that we're in, the two of you, to master that craft.
I've had recording studios since 1997. And so this is just, I mean, I've only had one at a time. It's just an ongoing line of them as I got moved out of one place and moved on to the next. And this is where I'm at now, and we are hoping that this is it.
Yeah. And we're in Landers, California, near Joshua Tree, and you have a 5-acre spread here.
Yep.
And this structure is acoustically as good as it gets.
Yeah, it was built from the ground up
with
help from an architect friend of ours.
Ignacio Moreno else. Who we fondly call Nacho.
And it's got no, as you said, no 90-degree walls.
No 90-degree corners, no parallel walls or floors and ceilings, which is one of the tricks to designing these. This was done much more scientifically than just blasting that out from Nacho's end. But it basically keeps standing waves from developing, which are like a big bump in a certain frequency, which makes things hard to deal with from an audio engineer's perspective. And it helps with the clarity of reverb. You don't get as many reflections. Our brains, the way they work for everything, all your senses, is we pick up edges. You see edges when you look at a wall and you see where it ends. And when you feel your finger across a surface, you hear where it, or feel where it changes, the edge there. And your ears work the same way. And so all those sort of slaps and echoes that could develop from a room that produces those sort of things can make audio sound unintelligible, hard to hear.
And what made you decide to take this leap and build your own recording studio?
This is a business that I've been trying to quit my entire life. I'm dead serious about that. It just always, I got sucked back into it, and it is my passion too. And it seems to be what I'm best at. And on some levels, the only thing I can do. When I first met Susan, like I had a straight job. I was also doing copyright control and keeping track of data for the Oregon Health Sciences University in Portland, Oregon. And I was working 40 hours there a week and then putting about 40 hours into my own recording.
At night, so it was kind of getting crazy. It was just like, how could somebody work that much?
And we partnered up, and she sort of like after a while was like, you have to quit the straight job and just
Focus on
do this
passion.
And so that's where some
You
of that
started to tell people no. So it was like, you can't, I mean, if you're telling people no, turning business away, that's what you really want to be doing.
Right.
Maybe it's time.
Yes.
yeah. And then how we got here is my studio that I was running, that we had up in Portland, Oregon I had that studio between 2007 and 2017. Gentrification and urban development rolled up the street. It used to be kind of in a warehouse area, and the train tracks and the light rail were below. And the train tracks and the light rail are still there, but now in between my studio and that is a giant like 6 or 8 story apartment building with retail shopping and
A lot of outside noise. A
yeah,
lot of traffic.
yeah, just more going on and more people potential for noise complaints.
And I think they were setting him up for like 2 years of construction where they were drilling an underground garage, like literally stones throw 6 feet away from the studio.
Yeah,
That's not going to work.
they didn't actually take my studio, but the construction and everything, and we looked at the situation.
It's funny because it's actually, the building is actually still there. And like there's this towering, gigantic 6-story complex.
So now you're out here off the grid. It's kind of the opposite.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that was tied into this a little bit. We were coming down here a lot to the desert, like when this whole gentrification situation at my recording studio became apparent. And we realized that if we cashed in up in Portland and just sold everything, we could move here and land was cheap here and we could kind of like figure out a way to rebuild. Our friend Nacho was in our life. And so it was really like the team, and not just Nacho, but everybody was in place for us to kind of try to do something like this. And so once we had the realization, and we had the realization very quickly, but once we had it, it became a thing that was hard to turn away from, of like, well, if we don't try this, you know, we're always going to wonder about that.
Mm-hmm.
And so we did it.
And now that you have your own studio and you guys are the Kearns family, your own bands, so you're recording your own music, but then you're also helping other folks record and do the audio as well.
Yeah. I got involved in this whole business. I started as a musician and I got involved in recording just because it was a way to cut cost if I did it myself and that sort of thing. But as I was doing that, other people asked me to help them out and do things like that. And so over time, I've been very fortunate and gotten to work with a lot of really neat people.
Mm-hmm. And obviously you're good at your craft because you're out here off the grid. You're not exactly, I mean, it's beautiful, but it's a little bit out of the way.
One of the hard things about being in a city, so many people have access to you. And this is just from a recording studio point of view. I found myself doing multiple short sessions in a day, juggling so many songs in a week, like moving between projects so fast that it was hard to keep track of everything that I needed to in my head, melodies, structures, things going on. Moving out here has slimmed that down to where I'm generally working on bigger blocks. I might still like go through a week where each day I work on something different.
It becomes a destination studio for many too. And
Sure.
he retains a lot of his old clients,
Yeah.
his best studios. So like everybody is curious about it and they want to come to the desert and like, you know,
Hang out.
it kind of just becomes this destination place, and the desert kind of like ends up sneaking into some of these recordings.
Right. And I would imagine the desert also is in the music that you've created together.
Definitely.
You have an album called Together and Alone.
Yes.
Yeah.
Now this came out just this year.
Yeah, end of January 2025, it came out. And it's just the two of us on the album. It was recorded here live. And we did some editing. I mean, you know, I'm an audio engineer.
Right.
I did some editing and I used some of like, I like analog delays. So I used an old tape echo and a space echo. An old Echoplex and a space echo for delays on the album, that kind of thing.
And Together and Alone, those are two words that meet in the opposite.
Yeah, but it's just the two of us, and that's it, is the point. And so it was. I think the title is exactly about what you said. It was to contrast that that you can be together yet alone. You know.
So what genre would you describe your music as?
I've been using the term Western folk.
Mm-hmm.
It kind of is traditional, but it definitely has elements of like the Old West and imagery of the desert and the Old West. And we like to watch a lot of old Western movies.
I needle my wife too because we both handle the booking of the band, but she did a string of emails this summer where she started using the Western folk thing.
Yeah, I don't even know if it's a real genre, but what is, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah,
what's a genre?
I think we're the only one in that genre so far. But I mean, there's some other people I think you can put in there. When I saw it, I thought it was really neat.
I thought it was the most accurate thing I could use to describe it.
I read about gamblers, drifters, and the brokenhearted. Was that your writing, or did somebody else, a critic, come up?
Our friend Will Amato was working on a project of his own, where he needed bios for a whole bunch of people that he was including in his project. It's sort of, I believe his project is like a capture of people that are out here in the desert doing weird stuff like us, artists and things like that. He actually had AI write the bio. So I'm sure this is so funny because when I saw that, I read that and I was like, that's weird. It's pretty accurate, but is there a gambler on the album? Charlie's kind of a gambler.
Tell us about that song. We listened to that song.
I tried to, on this album, let things really bubble up from my subconscious. And that particular song, the way it started out was a couple lines I found in my own notebook, in my own handwriting, that because I collect things constantly. I hear something that I think sounds interesting or cool, I'll write it down in my song notebook. And I went back to write this song to intentionally write a song one afternoon, and but didn't really have any ideas, and went into the notebook to see what was there. And there were a couple lines in it. One, I knew where it came from, and I knew I was making fun of myself. And then the other one, which is the one you just referenced, about you can't be smart to hang with Charlie. I don't know where that came from or where I heard that. It was just there. And it was great because Charlie's name was there. Mm-hmm. And I used that as the opening line. I just sat down and started playing these chords, and the melody started to reveal itself. Not all at once, but just like the first line and where it was going. You can't be smart to hang with Charlie, 'cause Charlie always does the thinking. His new used car needs an oil change. Tags expire 2 years ago today. You can't be straight to hang with Charlie, 'cause Charlie's always high and drinking. He's a good friend. He's always pouring. Even when it rains up in heaven.
What usually comes first? Is it the melodies, the music, or the lyrics? Or is it kind of combination back and forth?
I think it's kind of a combination. They're all different, but I am possessed by melodies.
Mm-hmm.
There were a few times we were driving around and I hear this like humming, passenger seat, and he's humming something. I'm like, what is that? And he's like, I don't know. I'm like, get your phone out, put the recorder on, and like, let's record it, and like, just have it, because it's going to go away.
So, and even without her prodding, I mean, I do that too. And so we have a lot of these things around. I often go back, like looking for a melody or looking in my book for a line as someplace to start, or both, that kind of thing. We have a lot of songs that come around that way though, and she does do a lot of prodding. We have another one it's brand new, called If a Cowboy Goes to Heaven. And I just we were getting set up at a gig, And I sat down and just played a run on my guitar, and she's like, "What is that?" And I was like, "I don't know. I'm recording it right now."
Just popped in my head.
Yeah, and that became the whole intro for that. It didn't really pop into my head. It like I don't feel like my head was very involved in that one. My hands just sort of played it.
Right. Interesting.
Right.
Does the Kearns family play just local, or you guys travel and you go on the road?
We actually just came back from a cross-country tour.
Yep. But we play a lot locally
But
too.
yeah.
So yeah, we play a lot of gigs a year.
We go on that one big one like once a year, and then we're working on some small runs right now.
Mhm.
How do you find your venues?
You were the one who took the lead on this.
Well, we just started using this online database called Indie on the Move that we book tours with. It's just a little helping hand to guide us along, to research some venues. And so the Kearns family, we can't play everywhere. It's like a specific thing that we're looking for, and it has to be kind of, a smaller, intimate space. It doesn't have to be a listening room, but it could be a bar. But where people are kind of there for the music and not, just
not-
dance.
They're coming to see the music, not just as background noise.
Because we play Western folk,
Mm-hmm.
people will mix that up with Western swing, or we'll say we'll play
Honky-tonk
country,
something, yeah.
and they'll think honky-tonk.
That's why I don't like to use
And
country.
Sure.
we're not exactly, I mean, you can dance to us, but it's not exactly, honky-tonk or that kind of thing. And so it's really funny. We're actually trying not to get caught up in those clubs as we're booking things, but just the same, like we do really well with the punk rock crowd. So we'll like look at a gig like that and be like, hey, we can probably if they're willing to take a chance on a really quiet act, we can do that club.
How many stops would you have on a tour?
This one we had 10 total. One was a kickoff gig that was at home,
Mm-hmm.
and then there was 9 on the road.
Okay. So the kickoff gig, the folks actually come here to the...
No.
It was a Joshua Tree. Or...
A club in Yucca Valley called Mojave Gold.
Got
For that one. Yeah. Great place.
And then you also have a radio show.
I do. I am the host of the Z1077 Local Music Showcase out of Joshua Tree, California. And every week I do 2 hours. I curate 2 hours of music for musicians that live out in this area, or sometimes at least have a lot to do with it. I got an incredible song from a band out of the UK this week called Flying Mojito Brothers. But the vocalist on the track is Ken Lane from Desert Oracle, who lives here in Joshua Tree. And it's just, oh my gosh, it's so good. And Desert Oracle is also a radio program and a podcast. And Ken just has a vibe.
Does desert music have a sound to it? I know like Dwight Yoakam's got his Bakersfield beat.
Yeah, Bakersfield has a sound,
Mm-hmm.
but sometimes, I mean, I don't know. At least for me, it's a pretty far stretch between Merle Haggard and Buck Owens.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a thing there, but
But there's a theme. There's at least a theme.
yeah,
Looking out here.
I think with the desert, like on some level, like when you say desert music, and I think to a lot of people in the world, it starts to refer to bands like Queens of the Stone Age and Eagles of Death Metal, and it's a very narrow thing. Living out here, it's a much broader thing because there's a lot of singer-songwriters. There's a lot of experimental music people.
There's a lot of experimental
Fog Machine.
scene. Yeah.
There is something, but it's about the desert sound, but it's much more intangible because it can be any genre, but there's something about living here where you're a little untethered from the rest of society and that kind of thing, and that creeps into music in a way, as it does anybody's art. I mean, I see it in the painters out here.
Well, you're surrounded more by nature. I mean, you see stars at night. You've got critters walking by the house.
Yeah, but that's not necessarily like that you could point to that and say everybody has that, because I don't, but it's a big part of it.
And something about the solitude.
Mm-hmm.
Being alone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thinking.
Quietness.
We got,
too.
my music I mean, I was never exactly like stupid loud or heavy rock or anything like that, but everything got way quieter and more introspective and starker feeling living here.
I could see why you wanted to get away from the subway in Portland. I would assume that the local community appreciates getting local music on the air.
Oh man, I mean, I feel incredibly well loved by the local
And there's so much
community.
talent in this area.
And I feel incredibly fortunate to actually be the person that gets to showcase all that amazing talent, because it's stupid. For the number of people who live out here, the amount of quality artists, musicians, it's
a big percentage of the population.
Yeah, it feels like it. It's not everybody. We have everybody here.
Right.
But it kind of amazes me to be the guy, like, first, like, I guess that often the way the process works is they hear my voice on the radio, and at some point in the show, I'm like, give my email address, and say, if you're a local musician, get a hold of me. And so I start getting emails from people. I've met so many people that live here locally. The first time I met them was by getting an email of like, hey, like, I live in Joshua Tree, or I live in 29 Palms or Wonder Valley or wherever. And here's my music, and here's a little bit about myself. I moved here, whatever, 6 months ago, 2 years ago, 10 years ago, whatever the thing is, to get to be the person that gets to share the thing they're sharing with me. And music is a very personal thing. It's just really fortunate. And then, everybody gets a thrill out of hearing themselves on the radio. And later on, it's, oftentimes I might be playing a show out at the Palms in Wonder Valley, and those folks might come and say hello. And you get to soon be friends with them in the community, because the community's not very big.
Right.
And it's really an amazing spider web of things that happens. And one of the things I guess I try to do with the show through that spider web is I try to rub people up on each other. So sometimes, like, I don't always do it this way, but sometimes, like, if I think two artists should maybe hear each other or whatever, like, I'll put them next to each other and then talk about it. One of the guys on your crew is Gerald Emmerich, and there was this guy whose music I thought Gerald would like, named Peter Fahey, who I was playing on my show. And so I tied all that together, and it was hilarious. And I got a phone call from Gerald this week. He's like, hey,
I met Peter.
yeah. He didn't meet Peter, but he wanted to talk about it. Peter's a tough guy to track down. But if you can, go see that guy play live. I think he's something real special.
Awesome. And we want to hear something special ourselves. Will you guys play for us?
Yes.
Sure. Awesome.
Sharp. The paint wasn't peeling, and I had a loving heart. Now the dust keeps creeping in the corners, and I keep sweeping it in the pan.
In the album, there's a painting at the bottom. Is this your work? I noticed there's
It is.
artwork across the studio.
Yeah, it is. I'm a visual artist, like an expressionist painter, I guess I would call it. And that's a painting called Somewhere in the Southwest.
And I saw a buffalo and an owl and
I use a lot of animal imagery. They're like big splashy paintings.
Have you always been a painter?
Yeah, I've always been a painter.
Okay.
Since a young child, I was an artist. Like everybody kind of like, oh, she's the artist of the family. So I kind of just grew up with that label.
Pick up a brush and...
Yeah, pick up
Sure
a
it
brush.
does.
And I went to art school.
You did.
And yeah, I just took a painting kind of post-art school. And I started out a little more realistic, and it kind of just got a little more abstract, as I guess many artists do.
Do you showcase your art?
I do shows, mostly local at this point. I mean, I would like to branch out at some point, but my biggest show is, it's called the Highway 62 Open Studio Art Tours. And that takes place the first 3 weeks of October, first 3 weekends.
Okay.
And it's an open studio tour where people drive around and you get a map, and there's like maybe 100 artists about that participate.
Oh, really?
And it's all throughout the Morongo Basin. There's some amazing artists.
Do they come here then?
Well, I do it at another studio with
Okay.
a group. So there's 5 of us that do it.
5 artists.
I create my art here, but I kind of create it. I just paint open air. So I paint outside. I get real splashy, and it's not very glamorous. Nobody wants to see that studio.
And
I mean, maybe they do, but like...
And if you looked at the map, like I think last year we weren't even, where we live wasn't even on the map.
Okay.
We're so far out.
Right.
So to make it easier for people to get there, she's buddied up with some friends that are closer to town.
Gotcha. It's kind of like a scavenger hunt where you
And we...
decide where you're going to go and which artists you're going to see. And
Yeah, and it's actually they have a catalog, so you could kind of like plan out your route. And actually, Pat's played there a couple times.
Yeah.
It's a party.
yeah,
Yeah, it's just kind of a hang.
It's a party.
I'll often have my guitar there, and my singer-songwriter friends who show up, I encourage them to bring their instrument. We'll just kind of hang out and play while people are buying art and doing things.
very cool. And you're the stand-up bass player,
I am.
and you also play the electric bass.
I do.
Do you have a preference, or do you like them both?
Yeah. I might get in trouble for my other bandmates, but I do like the stand-up bass.
Really?
And when did you pick up that instrument?
Probably when I was around early 30s. I played guitar when I was a teenager, so I put it down for a long time. And then I just hung out with a lot of musicians, and, late 20s, early 30s, I picked up the electric bass and started playing that. And after a while, picked up the upright bass. And it was through a project that I was in that was like a chamber pop thing when that was popular. People were using a lot of strings and indie music.
Right.
And I just thought it would be fun. And I bought like a upright bass, which I still have now. And I started playing that, and it was, I just really, I liked it a lot. But it was hard to find, after that kind of passed and I moved to Portland, it was really hard to find projects where people were using the upright bass. I was kind of in a rock and roll group of, like a scene of people.
Right.
Nobody really wanted the upright bass band. But
Yeah.
one thing led to another. I guess I'm kind of jumping ahead a little bit, but
How did you guys
I
come
started
to play together?
We started playing together. I had a group of songs. I was always in rock and roll bands, but I had this group of songs I didn't know what to do with. They weren't right for the rock and roll band. And I asked my friend Greg Odell, who's a drummer, what I should do with them. And he was like, well, we should treat them kind of like jazz songs or whatever. I'll get this jazz kit with hide drum heads, and we'll play real soft. And he wanted to get our friend Alan Hunter, who plays bass for the Eels on and off, to play upright bass in the project. But Alan was busy for the next 6 to 8 months. And so Greg, he was like, what about Susan? And I was like, oh.
he was like, no.
Well, we had this bass in our living room, her upright bass, but it was never played. I said, she never plays that thing. Greg's like,
Before that, we
just
never really
practice.
played together. He had his, we were both in bands
Yeah.
in Portland. Like, I had my thing and he had his, and we went to each other's shows.
Yeah, we played together a little bit on some one-off things.
Yeah.
Like never anything like beyond that. But Greg got us practicing regularly 2 or 3 days a week. And after about 8 weeks of doing that, we got 4 or 5, 6 songs in the studio. And we've been playing together ever since.
And you guys have a practice routine, as I understand it. You make sure that you do a certain number of songs every day or every week, just so you're, keeping up on your skills.
Yeah, we play almost every day.
Yeah, we try to play a half dozen songs every day. It's not really about the number of songs we're playing so much as like putting the time in. So if we decide to just work on something for a long time, we'll do that. But it's about just getting down here and playing every day and doing that kind of thing. It's made it really fun to do it every day. I can't believe it.
Well, it's always more meaningful when your job is fun.
As Cowboy Jack Clement says, we are in the fun business. If you're not having fun, we shouldn't be doing this.
I used to play with some ex-bandmate in Portland that used to say they don't call it's called playing. It's not called working. It's called playing for a reason. Yeah, it should be fun.
So Kearns family, Pat and Susan, thank you so much for being our guest on the road.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you.
Absolutely. And we want to thank our sponsor, Opus Escrow. Be sure to tune in next time for On the Road.